Hello and welcome. I'm Tracey-Jane Hughes from bralady.co.uk, and I'm delighted to have with me today Sophia Cook from London, who I met at the two boob pop-up event in London last month in February. Because Sophia was one of the fabulous models in the two All Boobs Welcome campaign. So Sophia, tell us about that experience.
Hello. A friend had mentioned about an advert. People were doing a real people casting, and it was basically to campaign, being in a campaign for a lingerie. They didn't at the time tell you who it was for. So I went to the casting, and I just thought there were several women, quite a lot of women there at the time. So I just thought I'd go along. Didn't have much to do of an afternoon. But when I discovered about really what it was going to be shot all by women, and it was 25 women were going to be selected, and there was going to be no retouching, so we weren't allowed to wear makeup. We had to have natural hair, no nail polish, and it was just to celebrate different types, different sizes of boobs, because they believe that currently in the media that there was a real kind of a not real perspective of what boobs really look like, because there's such a big variety, and I got selected, and on the actual day, it was a lovely experience. We walked in, but literally had to strip down to the underwear that was provided and spend a couple of hours having our photos taken. And the crew were lovely, and it was just such a great experience. And it was a bit out of my comfort zone. I've done a few things like this, but it was great to see. And the end result of seeing different types of women, different types of nationalities, different sized boobs, all standing together, and the feedback's been really good, really, really good.
Well, the feedback has been absolutely amazing, Sophia. And when we met at the event and we were talking about body positivity, and obviously the whole campaign was
Mm-hmm.
designed to show and encourage women that whatever boobs, whatever size they are, whatever shape, whatever color, whether we've got one boob or no boobs or two boobs, then it's all normal. It's what's natural for you. So
Yeah.
how did you decide, or how did you sort of feel that actually this was a good thing for you to do?
I've had a very weird, not weird, but quite an extensive relationship, as all women do, with their boobs. From quite a young age, I prayed for them, was quite flat chested, and then they just appeared when I was probably about 16 or 17, and they just
Yeah.
kept on growing and growing and growing and growing to the point where I wasn't. I went out, I had quite a nice like teenage years, early 20s, but I was always very uncomfortable and very self conscious of my boobs, and I made
Okay.
the decision to have a breast reduction.
Okay.
And at the time, it was something that I was defiant. I was going to definitely do it, and I actually went ahead with it. I had the first option I was too overweight, so then I had to lose weight to demonstrate that I had quite big boobs. So that
Okay.
process in itself was quite, I was training, I was working out, but my boobs were still quite big, and the surgeon had actually said that my boobs were a pretty good case to be put forward for to go on the NHS. A couple of the drawbacks, they said, because I was of Afro-Caribbean descent, keloid scarring would have to be taken into consideration. And I was 22, and I was so desperate to have smaller boobs. Um, the surgery itself was like 4 or 5 hours. I didn't have any real complications, but it was the results I was very, very pleased with. Now, a couple of points they pointed out to me was that I probably would have difficulty in breastfeeding, but at 22, I just wanted to look good. I wanted to look good in a nice little swimsuit. I'd lost the weight, and they weren't so cumbersome. They weren't so in the way. Now at 30, no, 40, I've just recently turned
Yes,
40.
40.
Um, I'm now today 30 weeks pregnant, and breastfeeding is at the top of my list. It's something that I really, really want to do. Do I regret having my breast reduction? No, but I just think that if there was a campaign or more in the media of women that looked like me at the time, I probably would have felt a bit more comfortable with bigger boobs and more availability of underwear and people that knew how to fit you and how to get the right size for you instead of wearing something that was too baggy or too bony or with no real support. So I don't regret it, but I just wish that the campaign that I've just done was available then, and I could have felt a bit more comfortable. I think I don't know if I would have gone ahead with the surgery, if I'm honest.
Oh, that's really interesting. That's really interesting. I mean, I've come across lots of women who have had both breast enhancements as well as breast reductions, and some of it has been about body positive and self confidence conversations that that they've had with themselves, and others have been health issues. So some of those women that I've met that have had breast reductions, their breasts have been so big that it has caused sort of health issues and physical health issues, not just mental health issues. So it's interesting what you're saying. If you knew now what you knew then, and do you think things have changed, Sophia, over the years?
Yeah, I do. You know, and touching upon not just about the recent campaign for the supermarket, but having readily available shops, high street shops to go in where you have somebody dedicated to measure you.
Yeah.
It's not like picking something off the shelf, a pair of trousers, a dress. You know, you need to make sure the back's right. You need to make that you're actually supported and you're comfortable.
Yeah.
I have worn some really constricted underwear, quite painful. It looked great. It looked amazing at the time in very tight dresses or in a corset. But actually taking it off, you end up having marks on the side. And, you know, it's like wearing that pair of high heel shoes that looks good momentarily, but actually a long-term effect. It will give, it can give your toes and walking, it could be an issue. So just having it's such that there's been a monumental good impact about this campaign. There has been some feedback because some people feel that it hasn't been all boobs. It doesn't cater for all boobs, but it's certainly a start, and it's a starting point of conversation to encourage other stores, other people, women like myself, to actually not be embarrassed about going for a fitting or going there and someone actually coming out with a larger size and you're not feeling horrified about it. You're just more there because it feels comfortable, you're sitting right, you don't have 4 or 5 boobs, which often you see a lot of women doing, and everything about your alignment is correct. So to look good, but actually to genuinely feel good and not have any indentations or just sacrifice your comfort to appear that you look good. I just think if there was more about, which there is now with the likes of Instagram and social media, there are more shops and more readily available. And there's like yourself. So I reached out to you. I came back and spoke to you and said, I think I'm in the wrong fit, or I'm actually looking for maternity bras now and nursing bras. Can you help me? It's not a question of going to a specialist shop. You've got somebody to reach out to and do exactly what we're doing now.
Yeah, and I think that's really important, Sophia. And it sounds like you've learned a lot over your 40 years.
Yeah.
And your practice and your comfort and support has probably changed over those years as well. But then the lingerie industry have also created new products, and not only larger sizes, larger cup sizes and smaller back sizes, which tends to be what is needed in the UK, especially now. It's very much, it is more readily available, and it sounds like you what you've done with the campaign is almost like a starting point for you to share some of your story with other people.
Yeah, it's because it's not just boobs were a big part of it. I was always the big chested girl at school with small back, and because I've quite small back and I'm 5'3", I think before I had surgery I was 34 double H, and going to school with a blazer, playing netball. I was very self conscious about even getting into the pool. That's probably as a result. I'm a terrible swimmer. because I was always looked the swimsuits were always looked a little bit too sexual at that age with big perky
Yeah,
boobs.
yeah,
And so, but it's been a whole transformation, and it's only really, it sounds quite awful, but I'd say late 30s and now into my 40s, and I think because I'm pregnant, is actually having a real appreciation for what my body is actually, what it's gone through, what it's doing now, and just having a real positive outlook. Our bodies have changed. I've been various different sizes. I've been bigger than this. I've been a lot smaller than this. Funny enough, my boobs have probably stayed the same shape. And
okay,
they've got bigger since I've got pregnant. But it's being able to look at yourself and be comfortable and realise that you're doing a wonderful thing at the moment, whether you're pregnant, whether you're not pregnant, but you managed to get yourself up in the day. Your body's functioning, you're breathing. But it's to actually sit back and think we're not supposed to look the same. We're supposed to look different. And I think once you have that mindset, and things are slowly catching up now, like plus size models, and it's not just about being bigger. Some women are naturally skinny, but it's
yeah,
having appreciation across the board, and that's knowing that women are different, and it's great
yeah,
to be different. If we're all the same, it'd be boring. It really would.
yeah,
So my journey is just it's around body positivity, but it's also realizing that these boobs are what God intended me to have, and the thought of having another operation would just no, I just wouldn't do it. I wouldn't do it, not again.
yeah. We've got one of your fellow models here with us, Samantha Caldicott, who I don't.
Oh,
So she said hello to the beautiful Sophia, and hello to the beautiful Samantha. So you all, and I think what the two campaign did show lots of different shapes and sizes of bodies and breasts,
yeah.
because like you just said, we are all different, we are all unique. And I think one of the difficulties there is with bras is that bras are the same.
Mm,
So we our bodies and our breasts are all asymmetrical,
mm,
but bras are symmetrical. So that's where it starts to go wrong, just with that
mm,
first part of it. We're trying to fit our boobs into these symmetrical bras, um, and and that's the starting point. So no wonder women are struggling, are confused, you know scared of asking, because like you say, there's over the years, a lot of the media has been about fitting into certain stereotypes. Whereas, oh, I'm still here. Lost you now, Sophia. Are you there, Sophia? Hello. Okay, I'll see if Sophia comes back. Um, looks like she's gone offline. But it's a fascinating conversation about bras, about body positivity over the years. And I find it fascinating that someone like Sophia and Samantha, I know you're here as well, you've taken a stand. You have said, I am me, this is my body, and I am quite happy to show, my perfect body to other people wearing lingerie. Um, which not everybody would do. And I think that the models that came into the two pop-up in London last month were all so enthusiastic, and were also proud of what they'd done. And but other women that were meeting them and said, "Oh, look, that's you," in the magazines, on the photographs. Um, they were proud of what you've done as well, and the way that you have stepped up to say I'm quite happy with who I am and my body and my my body shape, and we applaud you as bra fitters from the Bra Lady Network. We applaud you. You're back. Hi, Sophia.
Well, you can see now
Hello.
my boob. How
Yeah,
very
that's fine.
appropriate.
That's fine. So I was just saying that. Oh, have you lost gone again? No, he's fine. So what do you see, Sophia, as the next step for sharing, body positivity stories with, the women around you, maybe the girls at school who might be experiencing similar things to how you felt when you were a teenager, because your experience is not much different from a lot of young girls that are, have got bigger boobs now. I know that there is more, stock available. It's more talked about, but what can you do? Or how can we help?
There needs to be more. There needs to be more positive representation in the media, and
Okay.
not as a trend, not as for like 6 months of a campaign. It needs to be a steady flow, almost mirror what we've been seeing was known as being traditional or conventional standards of beauty. It needs to run parallel with what we already have, because those subliminal messages. It's great to have a campaign, and I fully back what the campaign we've just completed has been done. But eventually, like many things, many hashtags get caught up in another world and often get forgotten about. So it needs to be a steady flow. There needs to be. We're getting there in fashion. We've got bigger sizes. We've got where shirts are tailored with buttons on the inside, so there's not that gap.
Yeah.
There's not that embarrassment there. But it's not going to happen overnight, and possibly more events in stores, our high street stores on Oxford Street, and mannequins, and the pictures on these these bras we're buying and shirts having different shapes and sizes, not just different shapes like colours, but different sizes. Because when you go to you can have different. Everybody has different coloured eyes. Everybody's a different complexion. But boobs, when it comes to boobs, you're either a 34 back or you're a 38 back, and you've got to select it. So somebody has to be there as well to tailor it to you. It does have to be cost effective, but to have somebody that knows what they're talking about, that can advise you on making sure that you go to the last hook or having extensions. I never knew what an extension was until last week. I'm 40 years old, and I've heard about them, but I don't actually know how they work. So it's having that in the store and not being panicked. I went to a store last week, and I was walking in and somebody was walking behind me, and somebody said, "Oh, that's a big girl shop." And the girl he was with was quite big, was quite heavily chested. And whereas I just walked in and I turned around and smiled, it doesn't look as though she would want to go in there because it's a big girl shop.
Yeah.
And it's kind of on the corner of town. It's not amongst all the other high streets. It's not in a supermarket where you go to pick up, I don't know, your bag of grapes, what have you. It's kind of tucked somewhere else.
Yeah.
If everything was sitting side by side and we had more positive adverts, magazines, and to have it in high couture is pushing it, but not everybody that wears high couture is going to be a double A.
No, exactly.
And the reverse to that is, well, not everybody's going to be big chested, but you've just got subliminal messages, constant images on everyday life. So it's in a particular, let's say it's an advert for detergent, not just specifically for underwear. Young girls are going to pick up these magazines and they're going to look at it and they're going to think, oh, they're not going to think, oh, she's got big boobs. It's just something that they see all the time. So it's really, really important. And I think 20 years ago, it was a very different place. And I was not picked on, but I was singled out because I had big boobs. And because I had big boobs, it was because, I would always get a certain different type of attention. So what do I think we should do? Having a more positive message everywhere, and not just for a particular campaign, a season, but gradually. And then even having, you've got in some high street stores on Oxford Street, you've got like stylists. How about
Yeah.
an underwear stylist? How about
Yeah.
an underwear fitter,
Perfect.
where you can go and buy your jeans and at the same time just get someone to look over what you're wearing? Because I
Yes.
see women half the time and they have got 4 boobs or 5 boobs, or they just look really quite restrained, and
Yeah.
unless you like that kind of thing, it's just not. It's overall, it's not good for you physically, and knowing that you've got to wear a bra where you feel you're restricted,
Yeah.
that's not an overall feeling that anybody wants.
Yeah. I mean, wearing a bra, something we've been focusing on, that this, or our theme for this month is comfort and support as a bra lady team. And you can get both at the same time. And I think
Mm-hmm.
lots of conversations we've had recently, particularly at the event in London,
Mm-hmm.
was women said, but if I get comfort, I don't get the support. They didn't think they could have both at the same time. So that's been fascinating, and that's why we're focusing on that this month.
Mm-hmm.
And we would love to see more trained bra fitters in stores that can help women. I've had conversations recently with personal stylists, and whilst they do their styling training, they talk about underwear being important. They don't have any underwear training, any bra fitting training, so they don't know how to make a difference. Just like midwives or breast care nurses, they're not bra fitters. They do fantastic jobs and they have a lot of knowledge, but they're not there as a bra fitter to support a woman during pregnancy or during breast cancer. At particular points in time, it's hard, and we're not taught at school how to fit bras, so that can be hard as well. We haven't got a starting point. Well, where do we start?
Well,
So I just
but it's not. Again, it's something that it's not really been discussed, because you just go
yeah
to the store to get the size that you need, and we're taught, because fashion is so disposable at the moment, and you can get all these amazing things very readily available, very cheap. It's all very fast. There's no real consideration, and you don't really think about them unless there is an issue,
yeah
or unless you need to dress them in a certain way for a particular event. They're just there, but actually they can play quite a big part for a woman.
yeah
Um, and I think that there needs to be more. We don't need to. We're not going to single girls out in school, but if there's something, if it's more there, if we have the fitters in our high street stores that know what they're talking about. I have been to pretty much every store over the last 20 years, and I've had a very varied range of experience of people that I have nothing like. I've worked in retail for about 6 years, and that training in the underwear section is literally find the colour that they want, find the size that they want,
yeah
but there's no one there to fit them. And when you're going to a cubicle to be fitted, you expect that person to be able to give you the right information, and you're trusting them. And I've
yeah
walked out of stores and I've had the wrong bra and I've worn the wrong bra, and it's made such a difference to what I'm wearing and to my overall confidence as well. So having more women like you readily available would be great. Would be
yeah
really, really, really good. But I don't know if it's an investment that lots of stores want to actually take.
yeah I don't know. I mean, we've got a team of bra fitters around the country through the Bra Lady Network, and I'm constantly being asked to train more people, both as self-employed bra fitters but also to go into stores. A lot of the stores see it as a cost that then they're not currently wanting to put in place, but then you've got other places that see it as an investment. In their customer service. So I think it's going to be an interesting conversation. I think the campaign that you've been involved with, Sophia, has really started that conversation.
Yeah.
And I think we welcome that, and I think it's fantastic. I just want to share some thoughts that Samantha. Oh, I've lost it on my screen. Where's it gone? Oh, here we go. I'm just going to put it up on screen as well. If I can. No, it's not playing ball now. So Samantha said that the whole campaign was an amazing experience. I was not comfortable with my body. This campaign left me feeling like a queen. I did it to show my boys that this is what a real woman looks like without airbrushing. Samantha, thank you so much for sharing that, because it just goes to show that you didn't have to be feeling confident about your body to be involved with something like this. And I think what you've done has, it's not just showing your boys what a real woman is like without the airbrushing, but it's making you feel like a queen. You are a queen. You are beautiful, all of you, which is fantastic.
The interesting thing about Sam is that we've not met each other, because when it was shot over 2 days, so
okay,
it was like one in, one out, robe on, robe off. So I've never met her, but in the magazines we're placed side by side one another.
Oh, okay, fantastic.
So I found her. I don't know. I think she posted something. Goes, oh my god! It's like, and then she'd messaged me to say it's in the magazine, and we were both a little bit like, oh, what do we look like? What do we look like? And then I'd be like, I found another one, and it was really lovely because I was feeling quite anxious about putting it out there onto social media because I hadn't told anybody.
Okay.
I didn't know how big of a campaign it was going to be. And it's literally everywhere, despite the fact you can't really tell that it's, well, you can tell it's me if you know it's me. But to be out there, and because personally I've had issues over the years about what I look like. And to stand there in my bra and pants and in a very comic pose everywhere from till points and even in the till points, me and Sam are standing by each other in the magazines, and so it's really lovely, and it's nice to know that me and my monkey mind, where I feel really insecure, I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one,
and you're definitely not the only one. And we as bra fitters meet women all the time that feel exactly the same way, and a lot of women put off having a bra fitting because they feel insecure about their bodies. They feel insecure about, their breasts, and they think that they're not normal. But, we as bra fitters, we've seen it all pretty much, scars, stretch marks, 1, 2 lopsided, we are all lopsided, and that is absolutely normal. But I think you're right. It's what we see in the media that people, and I think even with the advent of social media and the internet, these last 20 years, it's very much what we see, we believe to be true, whereas what you're saying and what the campaign is saying and Samantha's saying as well is very much, no, we need to see real women, real shapes, real sizes. Our breasts, our bodies are all different. We are all unique, and that is what we need to celebrate and see.
Yeah, definitely. And even my niece, my very young niece, who's now, she's getting a little bit conscious about what she looks like and stuff.
Okay.
And she saw a picture of her auntie, and she was like over the moon, And we're very, our body types are very, but she's over the moon. But it's sending out messages as young as that. For me, there weren't a lot of black women in the media, and also a woman that looked like me. The only person that did was my mum. So it was very, very conscious of that. So it's to have it out there as early as 7 years old, in magazines, on TV, in music, and to really empower women to say that it's okay. We don't need to look a particular way. We're not all going to be Victoria's Secret models, and those Victoria's Secret models are beautiful and stunning. But so's my next door neighbour. So are you. So Sam. So's me. So we need to have that mentality, and that needs to be fed to us every single day in the supermarket, out in shops, TVs, radios. So it's a great start point, but it needs to get some momentum, and there needs to be more conversations, more dialogue about this. And boobs, they're not essential, but they're essentially a part of that woman. And whether they've got 1 or 2, I have a member of my family that's lost part of her breast, and she's super proud. She's super proud of me, and she's starting to feel a bit more comfortable now about going in to see somebody so
Yeah.
that she can be measured, and that's a big step for her. So
Yeah.
I'm really pleased with
That's
that.
brilliant. Thank you so much for your time, Sophia. I really could
Pleasure.
talk to you all day. And we might do this again, because I
Yeah.
think, we've only just touched the surface. And it
Yeah.
might be, I'll see if I can get Samantha on maybe one day as well. And just
Yay.
talk bras, talk bodies. Let's just make this normal, because
Yeah.
I think that's what you're saying, and I think that's what we know from the women that we see, is that bras and breasts aren't talked about. And it's not, we talk a lot about, or we see a lot about body positivity, in the news. There are hashtags all over the place, the body positive, but we're still not seeing, boobs positive or breasts positive, in that same way. And yes, I know boobs and breasts are part of our bodies, but I think you're right. They're still seen differently.
Yeah.
They're still seen as, something else, when, actually, they're part of us. So I'd love to continue this conversation. So
Thanks
good
for
luck with
having me.
the rest of your pregnancy, your last 10 weeks.
Thank you.
You are looking absolutely fabulous.
Yay.
And, I know you are so excited about it. So, stay well, stay in touch, and just keep the conversation going, Sophia, because what you've done, what Samantha's done, and the rest of the models involved in the All Boobs Welcome, you're absolutely amazing. And thank you for starting that conversation.
Thank you. Thank you for having me. Thank you for
You're
allowing me
welcome.
to talk about it. Thank you.
You're welcome. I'll speak
Take
to you
care.
soon.
Bye.
Bye.